So today in this video I'm going to teach you how to fix this tilted tailgate window in your 3rd Gen 4Runner. This happened to me. I brought the window down one day and it didn't want to go back up. It was all tilted like this. But we're going to make it so you can get it nice and even again. So keep on watching. The first thing you want to do is get this back panel off that's on the inside of the tailgate. So the first thing is this is where the pull strap is to close the tailgate, and so you pop the plastic cover off that, undo the bolt. That's a 10mm there, and then I got a tool like this. These are body panel pullers, and I started on the bottom here, did all the way along there, popped it off, and then moved up to where the window sill is, and it just has these red clips here. Once you get all those off, you can just slide it right out of the window. Pretty easy. So got this panel back on. There were 9 screws total on this, and in my case the window was sagging on the driver's side, and so I need to take off this panel. If it's sagging on the passenger side, you should take off this small one. This is where you can also access the defroster if your defroster is broken. It's a little different setup here, a little different shape bracket, but it's about the same. And there's a panel for this one too. So I pulled this panel off, but I left the wires attached so I could move the window up and down and test it. And it has this mechanism here, has a motor here and a tension spring here with these 2 gears with these levers, and then the levers are attached to these sliders that lift the window up and down. And the sliders have little tracks on them, and there's a wheel on the end of here that moves these tracks. And right now I have the hammer holding up the window, but I managed to get one of these bolts off, and it looks like how they had it was this bolt was actually cast inside of the plastic here, and the rust, I guess water got down in there, corroded it, and the rust broke off the plastic from the bolt, and it failed. And so what I did to get to this point is I had to lower the window a bit, and then I got the hammer. I got a hammer here holding up the window, and I managed to get some vice grips to grip this bolt, and then undo it with the socket. And then to get it off the track, there's a little tab here that I had to just bend back real easy. So I think I'm going to try and do the same thing on these ends. There's 3 bolts total, 1 here and then 2 on the end. So I'm just going to grip this rusted bolt here. See if we can pull it off. Might take a few tries. So in my case, the bolts were way too rusted on to pull off. I had vice grips on this end, and they were just slipping. So, you know, we're gonna go with this solution here. Alright, so you can see here I was able to cut that off with the grinder pretty easily. And I'm just going to see if I can hammer out or twist out this last bolt here. So here we are, I just got this last one out there. Just a little twist of the vice grips and it's good to go. And I'm probably going to sand this down and give it a good quick paint job to prevent it from rusting again. Alright, so just gonna, doesn't need to be anything special. Hopefully you never have to see this part again. But just get it to where it's nice and covered, and get a few coats on there, and then return in a few minutes. Alright, I'd say that's good enough. Alright, we've got our new freshly painted part here, and I also found some new hardware in the garage. Should work well enough. Now, when you're reassembling this, there's two sides to it. There's this side, which has the stopper for the wheel down lower, and then this side, which has it higher. Now this side that has it higher is the one that we're going to put this on, and it's going to go underneath like that. So you can tell because on these plastic bits here, there are these little squares that pop out. This one on the end with just one is higher than on this end, which has two. So it's about twice as high on this end as it is here, and that's to make room for our metal L bracket. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is slide this back on. So you have the wheel here, and I didn't get to take a video of the disassembly, but the assembly is just reverse, so if you watch the whole video. So we got that there. Now we're going to need to raise this up to make it match, so I'm going to go do that real quick. So I raised up the window a tad so we can fit that in there. Might have to adjust it a bit to get the back ones in. And another note is that I actually had to switch out the hardware we're using. It was a little too short. This is one of the original bolts, and obviously it had the nut into the plastic there, but now we have to reach behind the plastic and tighten it up that way. So we need something that's a tad longer. I found these. They're not ideal. You should probably find something better if you're going to do this. But let's put it on there. I put that in right there. I'm going to put a washer in behind it, and then the nut on there. Alright, I'm just going to get a screwdriver and get it on there. Holding the nut with my finger on the back. I need to get a bigger screwdriver. That'll work. And just tighten that up pretty good. The nut seems to be tightening itself, so I don't need to grip it on the back. And that's pretty good. So you can see we're getting into place now. Right there. So we're going to go ahead and slide this piece in on the back, and this rubber piece on the end here has to slide into this groove, just like that. And so let's get that in there. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and screw those in. So I ended up putting the bolts in off camera, as you can see there. And if you notice, if you're keen, you'll notice that these ones are actually placed opposite as the front one, because these square edges here, they were catching on this piece of plastic behind the window. Because remember, in the stock form, the bolts were embedded inside the plastic, and so there was nothing on the back there for it to grab onto. But as you see, we can bring it up. And it works perfectly. Bring it down. There it goes down. So with these, I just used what was in my garage, and I had to do some gymnastics with my hand to tighten those flat heads on the other side. If I was you, I would go and get some better hardware, some of those flat-headed bolts that have texture on the other side, so they can grip without having to be tightened, be held by a wrench or something. But this should work. It's just a window. I wouldn't do something like this on the engine or the driveline. And now I'm going to show you how to put it back together, and you can just do these steps in reverse to take it apart. All right, so first thing is this wiring bit here. You just bring your panel over, and there's a little rubber bit, and you just pop it back in there. May or may not want to pop back in, but it's kind of bolted on there anyway. And then you're just going to go and put all these screws back in, and we'll go from there. Okay, so all the panels are back together. If you did happen to unplug these, which you don't need to, I was able to do it without, make sure these are plugged back in. And then we're going to go outside and lift the tailgate and put the plastic piece over the back of it. All right, so to put this piece back on, or I guess to take it off if you're on that part, you want to first make sure the window is all the way up, and then lift up your tailgate. And then if you're putting it on, you want to put the weather sealing on first. If you're taking it off, you do this last. And if you've ever done any type of door on a car before, it's pretty much the same thing. You just slide it in from on top. And this one's pretty big, so it's quite hard, but just about got it. No, that's not it. Okay, there it is. There's that side. There's that, and then you just pop the clips back in. Considering you didn't break any, taking it out. And that should pretty much do it. If you want to take the clips off, this is my favorite tool for doing that. And you just slide it underneath and pop it off just like that and go all the way around. But that should do it. Let's give it one final test. Looks like it's good to go. One piece I forgot, which is the handle right here. So this is going to be the first thing you want to take off when you are doing this whole thing. And that just looks like it goes in that way. Alright, that's good. And then what you want to get is your plastic piece here. You can take this off with a screwdriver. You can see how it goes in. So you want to take it off where the handle comes out. Just pry something underneath there and pop it off. And then that should do it.